Hola, my people, and welcome back to another episode here on your favorite podcast, telling you African stories about neurodevelopmental disability, diversity, psychosocial challenges, etc. And this is Neurodigest podcast with me, Dr. Sylvia Moraa AkinSiku, your host for today, and as always. And today we have a super guest. You know, I've just seen something a while back. This coaster of mine tells me it seems impossible until it's done. And I feel that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today. Because sometimes when we look at our children and we think about education and we think about possibilities of them sitting in a classroom and actually doing things that other typical children are doing, it feels like impossible. But today, I am with one of the few people who we call magicians, an educator, a special needs teacher Innocent, who I have personally worked with, and I can tell you, I do not think I have sufficient grace to be a teacher. That I will always put as a disclaimer. So we'd like to know today, how do they get to do it? So we'll give her an opportunity to introduce herself. Innocent, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for inviting me over.
You're welcome.
So my name is Innocent Omondi, a special needs teacher by profession, working under Kenya Community Center for Learning, that is KCCL, working with persons with disability, mostly autistic kids and dyslexic kids. Yes.
Oh, wow. You know, I have tried to teach my children simplest of things, and I can tell you for free, there are days I'm just like, I'm not cut out for this. God's grace is always sufficient, but for this one, thank you, Jesus, I don't even need it because I will not try. You know, everyone has their calling, and I will not even begin to say how much I respect special needs teachers because they all learn differently. So when I'm trying to teach one of my two, and I imagine a class full of 10, and you just said autism and dyslexia. Which other challenge do you have in your class? Those are the two main ones. Autistic students and
mostly autistic.
Mostly autistic.
Yes.
So you can imagine they all learn differently. So how long does it even take to get to calm that class down? Or just tell us the magic and the secret. How do you make this happen? Because I can tell you the difference I've seen. You're a teacher of my son. And when I look and I see the things he's able to, like, would be somewhere random and he drops a word and I'm like, oh my God, you even know that. You know? Or he tells me, Mommy, number this. And I'm like, yeah, he knows that number. But me, when I try even to do homework, I tell you, our kids are special indeed. They compartmentalize and respect you. So me, I'm a mom. So I'm not allowed to cross boundaries and try and be a teacher because najiongelesha for true. So tell us, how do you even do it?
Do I say before you even do it, you pray for God's grace? Because again, without God's grace, you need it. We need it, and you learn to be patient when you work with these kids, because that is one virtue that you must have.
Patience.
Even if you don't have it, you'll have to learn it. Because me, I'll tell you for free, I've learned to be patient through these kids. Because if you're not patient, there's nothing you'll do with them. Because again, it's an individualized education program. Because now everybody learns differently. Everybody has his or her own level. So we have to differentiate, and that's where we come up with something called IEP. And so IEP is an individualized education program. That is where every child has his own learning styles and own level. So we also deal with something called accommodation and differentiation. So what this one learner can do, maybe the other one cannot do. So that's where you come in with the differentiation and accommodation. So you accommodate everyone with the level they are in, and then you accommodate with their differences. Yes.
Okay. You know, I'm trying to imagine. So when the kids have been brought to you, so how long does it take you to know which level for you to be able, let me sort and decide this one is on this? Or do you depend on education assessment reports that they come with, or you can be able to do that as a teacher in class?
As much as they come with their reports, but again, you also need to assess and know that this learner is in this level. At times, it takes a while, depending with the learner. But again, with the way I said it, with patience, you'll know.
Serious make it that I can explain. I'm just trying to think. I have one student. So you do a plan for each of them?
Yes, every learner, when we admit the students, every learner, we take some time before we learn. Before making the IEP, we take some time with the learner to know where they are, the level they are in, and then after that, now we make the IEP. That is the parents, the teachers involved, and the administration.
So you need to ask yourself, does your child have an IEP? If you have a special needs child, because most of us don't know until the time you hear about it is when you know. And one thing I noticed between the UK, the US, and here is we have these things beautifully written, but very few schools actually implement IEPs, because it's like having the way you have your class rota, the same way you have your school timetable. This is their own timetable, right?
Yes.
According to what they can do. So this, I believe, is now a stage-based learning style, right?
Yes.
It is where you have reached that they use to give you work that is per your level.
Yes.
And that's the importance of being in a special school and setup. What is the maximum students you can handle?
In a class, because it's an individualized class, like everybody learns on their own way, on their own style. So let's say 10 is
that's
quite
a lot.
Yeah, it's
and that's quite commendable here in Kenya. Trust me, I've walked into schools where there was 34 and 2 teachers. When I just said respect.
Yes, and that's why mostly you will not find me in class alone. So I have my assistant. So you need to have an assistant, because when you're dealing with this student, the assistant will also be helping you to deal with the other student. Because again, it's an individualized education. Everybody learns on their own.
And what is the work of a shadow teacher in that space? Because sometimes I remember the first time I took baby B, and they were like, you need to bring someone to stay with him in class. And I'm like, excuse me, I have a nanny at home. Now you want me to bring a school nanny? We already have the other one already in a special school, and it is not as cheap as we might want it to be, or as affordable. So what is actually the difference of your support teacher and that shadow teacher who comes to school?
So a shadow teacher is assigned the individual child. There's a time they will not settle, they get affected with new environment. So when they come in, before they settle in class, they need someone to help them settle well in class. As much as I'll be teaching, but now there's this one person who maybe is new, the learner is new, and now you need to know where the toilet are, where we go to eat. So the shadow teacher helps with making the learner settle in.
Yes. So they don't interfere with the classwork?
No.
Okay. And the people who say I have a shadow teacher who comes home, like they go with them to school, they don't also say after school the shadow teacher operates. So it's a choice to either be with them in class or to go and reinforce what they learned in school, I presume, from home.
Yes, they also they help from home, because again they need to help with, at times you see maybe what I taught was complex. Now he or she will have to break it down to the level that this learner understands. Yes.
Wow. I tell you, my head just feels educated. And you can see how patient she is. As her name says, very innocent. Now we need to look out for these qualities when you're trying to go to school to study. So tell us, how did you end up here?
In special needs.
Yes. And why? Like, why special needs when there's all those other things to do?
Yes, my teachers will tell you that I always said I'll never be a teacher. So how I got myself in special needs, I had a cousin of mine. By then I didn't know it was autism, but now I really wanted to know why she does her things in a certain way, and I wanted to know when whatever she's doing, how does it, like, just understand how she does her things the way she does it. And then I also, when I was in high school, I had also a friend who was deaf. So we were friends, but we could not communicate.
So how are you friends in the first place?
Like, you just say hi. So the only thing we used to do was hi. And so I wanted to know, how can I communicate with him? So I think when I finished high school, I wanted to know, yes, my cousin. And also I have another cousin who is now a very good in Special Olympics. He takes part in Special Olympics. So I really wanted to know, why do they do some things the way they do. And I was
He's also autistic?
With him, no, not autistic. So I wanted to know why they do what they do, how they do it, and why. Because I felt like they were different from us. Because there are times they will just be quiet and you're like, I'm talking to you, you're not answering. So I didn't understand. So I wanted to know why. So the interest came in when why do you do your things?
At least curiosity in this case did not kill the cat.
Yeah, so when I think that I always say that is what drove me to do special needs. Yes, and unfortunately, when I started doing special needs, my cousin passed, the lady. So ndio baadaye I came to notice she was she had autism. Yes.
What are the circumstances, if we are allowed to ask? Like, she just peacefully passed on, or?
It is not like she passed peacefully. It's always a sad story because she did have speech, and she used to stay with my grandma. So when shosho ataenda shamba, amwache kwa nyumba, because she used to do her things. She was so clean, so she will remain in the house. Shosho goes to the shamba. So there's a day, I think someone was just watching, so he knew Shosho is not at home. So she raped my cousin. So from that is where now things started going downhill. She stopped reacting to everything. She just started being sick. And then slowly by slowly it became worse. And then now what even pains me so much is when my grandma went to report the case. Now my cousin can't talk. The police said hakuna kitu tutafanya cause haizi ongea, hakuna evidence. So we were like,
what do you mean hakuna evidence?
Yeah, so
unfortunate and sad. And one of the greatest fears when I think about being a special needs child for my children, and these are some of the things that make us make decisions in life. And I'm only trying to imagine what she was going through, being a nonspeaking adult, and she could not communicate the mental torture that would have been, trying to understand why someone would be, I'm sure the person was violent, or it's just very, very heartbreaking. So because she could not speak, they say there is nothing they can do. And that's why we need changes in our justice system. We need empowerment for police to know that there is alternatives. I'm sure there was a way you guys were communicating with her, right? So if only that was extended, and I'm sure they could have taken samples. But how did you get to find out? Like, did she communicate, or... Sorry to digress, but this is part of the few issues and why we have these conversations, because you get to know the story behind the story, and most of the time experiences are what gives us purpose in the things that we do in life.
Now, her staying with Shosho for the longest time, now they knew how they could communicate, because again, they listen to specific voices. So me, I will talk to her, she will not answer. But again, when Shosho talks to her, they know how they could communicate. But again, I think from that, now she could not walk, and she used to walk because I think the man was so violent with her. So from that day, walking became a problem. Doing her own things became a problem. Now we could help her with doing everything. This is one person who did her things for herself, and from that,
I'm just trying to wonder, like, the way Shosho used to leave her. Was she unsettled anytime now she would want to leave her as one of the things that were identifiers of what?
Because she used to do her things for herself. Shosho had no problem because now they knew how they could communicate. As much as she had some words, few words though. From now, these few words, they could communicate with Shosho, and Shosho would know things are just not right. And then Shosho left her, she was okay. But when she came back, she could not stand, she could not walk. And again, for the way Shosho found her, you could know something was not right here. Yes.
Wow. That is very heartbreaking. And to imagine that this led to her losing her life because of someone. I hope one way or another justice came to be. Or I don't even know. Like, if you're walking in that village and everyone looks like a suspect, I'm just trying to put myself in Shosho's shoes. Try to empathize with your cousin and try and imagine how she would feel after that if Shosho was living, the fear that would have caused. Because post-traumatic disorder is real, man. It is. And mental health is one of the most delicate things that can really change a lot in someone's life. How you look at life, how you look at everything, how you carry on with your day. As you can see, the impact it had on your cousin.
Yes.
Yeah. Really, really sincerely, wow. Sincere condolences for that. And we just hope that our systems will change and we will consider justice across all. No matter if you're able-bodied, not, but a person with disability, speaking, non-speaking, it doesn't matter. I am sure if they went to check, they would have found evidence.
Yes. But again, they did not. But let's say nature served us the justice. Yes, that's a story for another day, but nature served the justice. Okay. We came to realize who did that, and in one way or the other, justice.
Ancestors are there, my friend. Let us say that. That child came from a mother. That child is God's creation. That child was guarded by God. And you can never run away from the wrath of God, like they say. You think you're doing it in secret because she cannot talk, because she cannot stand up for herself, and you think you can get away. That's why they say karma is a big bee, man. And it can catch you sooner than you think. And I am glad nature did its thing. I don't even want to know how it did it, but I'm glad it did it. Because that gives me a relief. Na iwe funzo kwa wengine kama yeye. These are just the realities of life, and that's why we do our podcast, to get facts of what happens on ground and experiences and the challenges that come with special needs, neurodivergence living among us, and also for parenting. And you can see even from the teaching stories. I'm sure if we were to dive into what is your worst experience, at least one. That one day where you have sat and you're like, God, how did I end up here?
Where you revisit your career.
And then you're like, am I sure? Like as Brian, am I sure? Am I going to do this? Is this the right? Did I make the right choice? Has it ever come to that point?
Yeah, those days are there, trust me. And me being with this small body of mine, and now my kids are most of
growing.
them, and they're growing. So there are times when the tantrums and meltdowns, there are times they are so extreme. You know, at times there's nothing they can do about it. So you end up unapokea.
You're the receiving end, all the punches, all the bitings,
But again, now you know there's nothing they can do about it. So you just you're there, utaenda kurub uchungu ukifika kwa nyumba.
So on top of patience, we can add understanding on the list of things that you need to be a special needs teacher.
True.
So which course did you, okay, not which course, of course education, but then there is general education, then there is special needs. So did you just wake up one day after what transpired? Did you know from the, like, this is what I'm going to do? Or did you do a course and then you digressed to do special ed? How did you do it and when?
No, from the word go, I knew I wanted to do special needs education, and that's what I went to KU to do.
Okay.
So I did my diploma in KU. Yes.
So she's a product of Kenyatta University.
Yes.
Okay. They did a good job. For sure. They did a good job.
Yes.
Now, how do you guys handle emergencies in school? Because I know, let me be honest, now that we are just being honest. There are days I see my phone, I say, teacher, innocent, calling, I just say, Lord, give me grace. For whatever is going on that side, for whatever will come from this phone call, give me the strength to handle it. So that is my side. So for you who's on the other side, when you have to call a parent and tell them this has happened or this is going on or we need you here, how do you handle it?
Start by being patient.
Okay, back to patience.
And being composed, because again, there's a way you can break a news to someone and you make it worse. Now you have to be composed with what you're going to
Communication
say. You
skills.
you communicate, because there's a way I'll tell you where.
I died before I even finish.
So you make another emergency. So you need to know how to communicate. It's not easy, because again you have to start thinking of the words, right words, not just words.
So after how long do you pick that? After what point do you, like, how long does it take? Is it that immediately something happens, you're like, or do you calm down the situation?
You calm down the situation first, because again, the safety of the child comes first.
Yes.
So mine is to inform the parents this happened, just
And
in case.
Something.
Yes, we did something.
We did, not doing. Okay, we did something.
Unless now it's something that it's beyond us. Now we have to involve the parent. Now tell us how we go about it. Yes.
Oh, wow.
But you need to the safety of the child first.
I'm trying to imagine. My heart muscles might be weak by the time I'm finishing a year if I was to handle that. Because I can imagine all that.
To be honest, I think the first times things used to happen, and before I am attending to the child and I'm crying at the same time. Because again, this
so
is
who's
new.
crying? Both of
but
you are
again
crying.
now, what you are being told in class. When you come to ground, now that's the saying, kwa ground vitu ni different. Trust me, it's very different. Because now this is practical. In class it's theory. This is what you're supposed to do. Again, unafika unapata whatever you're told you're supposed to do. You will not do it, because now it's not applicable. So saa zingine, yes, kwa ground vitu ni different, and that one is very true.
Very true. So what would you advise as a teacher for those ones who intend to take the course? Like, you see the way you're saying things are different. So would you appreciate, like, if there was a way you could first be warned, for lack of a better, like the picture painted, not just theory, this is how you do it. Because I know you do like TP, teacher practice.
Yes. And we do, there's a course called Practicum now, where you go to the school before you get satisfied to be a teacher, a special needs teacher. There's a course called Practicum. You go for a practicum.
How long?
It's at mine. I did for a term. Yes, it's a term. So there are days you go to the actual school. You choose a school and then you go there.
Oh, it's your choice where to
yes.
go. Okay.
So you go to that school, you sit with the learners, you teach, and then teaching practice comes badai. Now that is it sums up everything.
Now, there is no enough money that can pay to satisfy all the sacrifices that you make as a teacher. But how does it make you feel when you stay with a child and when you're doing that IEP and it's just not moving? because I know when I first got the first report, they said, oh, we can handle him, bring him. My God, when I received that report card, I died resurrected, cried and wailed, and then I'm just looking at my child and I'm like, what does this even mean? It was the first few days of parenting, and that's what we go through. Because sometimes you're trying to figure out your way in the education system, there is no proper guide, as much as we at Andy Speaks have now made it easier for other parents, because you can go to our resource hub and check it out and learn and see options and pick out schools that have been categorically placed for you, or even the doctors, etc. But I remember that first time I received, and it was cannot do this. So you remember how much you've paid. You remember all the waking up, going to school, picking up, dropping, and in between. For you to be told there is no progress that has been made. You as a teacher, how does it make you feel when you do all this and then the child just doesn't get it?
I won't say the child doesn't get it.
Okay. Doesn't show progress. Let me, but if you see, if I should go and archive that report form and pin it somewhere to remind myself that now we can do all those things that were declared not able to. My God, it was painful.
I think there's something called delayed milestone. They might not be there yet, but eventually we will. Slowly, the progress. Now that's where the individualized education program comes in, and then the accommodation and differentiation. Now, if I, as a teacher, because at the end of the term we make lesson plans, we make schemes of work. So I might make these, and then
what is schemes of work?
It's like
so we understand.
It's scheme of work is it's a term based.
Oh.
It is your topics, you align them in the whole term.
Okay.
But now lesson plans are for every day. So every day before you get to class, you must
and
have
for
a
every
lesson
student their own.
Yes, now that's where the accommodation and differentiation comes in. So I know student A, she or he is at this level. So as much I might be teaching one topic, let's say I'm teaching numbers. In these numbers, there's one person I'll be teaching 1 to 10. There's one person I'll be teaching maybe 1 to 100. There's one person I'll be teaching 1 to 150. Now, so you see, these are accommodation. I need to accommodate all of them. So every child has their own learning styles. So I know from this one, there's also 1 to 5. The progress. Kila mtu na pesi yake. So when I make the scheme of work and maybe tunaanza kufundisha and you're like, it's not working. Now you change the whole thing to accommodate the learner.
So in that process of embracing, different children have different milestones and adjusting and readjusting until they get it right, so that we are able to teach them, because we're always told we teach them the way they learn and not the way we teach. We don't impose things on them. So, and I know there is a spectrum of its own, from all the special needs, all the intellectual disabilities, and the challenges that different learners go through in class. So for you as a teacher, to be able, just as a tip to parents or a tip to other teachers who may be, because we know the other essence of why we're having the Neurodigest podcast is so that we are able to educate people on the early signs, so that we have early interventions, and then we can open opportunities, so that if early interventions happen in good time, then the children and the learners are able to progress in life nicely. So what are those things that if you see, you should pay closer attention to? I know we have different big names, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyslexia, whatnot, but let's just say intellectual and learning challenges. Now, in the classroom setups, what are the things that you would notice as a teacher?
I think that reminds me back when I was in primary school. The teachers used to say, naenda na wenye wanaenda. Like, if you're not able to get it, we're back here
for you. Yes.
So, as much as by then it looked fun and everything, but now you come to realize there was an issue.
Yeah, in hindsight,
we didn't know.
We didn't deal with the issues.
Yes,
we did not even identify the issues. We made assumptions and moved on.
Yes.
Yes.
So we were like, sawa teacher tenda na wenye wanaenda, and you're like, it even gives you fear to go ask when you have an issue.
A question, yeah.
Yes, so you I think I think teachers, we need to understand our learners, because that is very important. If you don't understand your learner, that's where it comes wewe ni mjinga. We start giving people names,
brands that actually stick for the rest of your life. Self-esteem gets messed up so early.
Yes, and you somebody tends to struggle with self-esteem, because again teacher alisema mimi ni mjinga, teacher alisema siwezi, teacher anaendanga na wale wenye wanaenda,
so mimi sijawahi enda, so ni baki tu I'm okay where I'm left behind.
And then you go ask questions, unapata kuna jibu tapewa, trust me, you will not go back. So I think teachers need to understand the natures of our learners. It's not easy, but again, let's be patient. I think patience,
yes,
understanding, and just know your student.
Know your student, and pay attention to each one of them.
Pay attention to what goes around in your class, because now this is your class. You know, this person can do this, this one cannot, because you get somebody who will not be good at maths, but again you go to English,
they're the best,
and now you start questioning. I can remember teacher asking some of you, ukona D na ukona A, how will you balance all this? So
in the same human person.
Yes, in one report card we have an A, but we also have a D. So we also need to know the strengths and the weaknesses of our learners, because it's very important. Because if I know like, for example, these students, this is the strength of this student, I will be able to empower the strength, and as I build the weak part, so you build the weak part and you also enable the strength. And that's why we at times we don't go into academics so much, because again now if this learner is disadvantaged in academics, but again very good at sports or very good at music, what stops you from this is the strength part we are talking about. As much as yes, education must be there, we can't remove it kabisa, but again this person is able to play guitar, mpe chance acheze hiyo guitar, it will bring fruits. Because there's one of my cousin, I told you there's a cousin of mine who is special. So he was in one school and alifukuzwa shule wakisema awezi. So as much as yes, walimfukuza, and from that's where the blessing of my cousin came in, because now it made us and also understand the special. As we were brainstorming and with my aunt, and I'm like, you can try with the special school. So he joined one of the special school, ilimpea chance. Now he was among the team Kenya that was recently
in Berlin.
Yes, in Berlin, team
awesome.
Volleyball, and they came back with a gold. So as much as academics,
so do they all get golds that they come and bring? Now that I can ask you this question,
that is just a term. Yes, but again, they have their strength, and when we nurture this strength,
and I can imagine the pride of the entire family, looking
yes,
at the success
the
coming
mom,
this far, and this is the person who was written off by another
yes,
teacher somewhere else.
Yes, so teachers, we need to be careful with our words. They get into us, because me, I will tell you, the teachers of mine walifanya nikafeel I cannot stand. So as teachers, we need to be so careful with our words. Whatever we say to these kids, they grow with them,
and it's implanted. It's implanted, and every other time they find something difficult, that will pop in their head, and they'll be like, teacher said I can't do it. Why do I need to bother? Why bother with it? Just leave it. I'm already certified. I'm already a certified failure in that department. Yes. So be it.
Yes. Teachers to be careful with what they say to the learners, understand your learner's strength and the weaknesses, empower the strength, and also build slowly with this the weakness you can also build. Yes, that's what I was saying.
Oh my God. And even the Bible says it. Power of the tongue.
Yes.
The power of the tongue. So as a teacher, like she said, you have to weigh your words. Take time, understand your learners. Don't discourage them. be that one who stands with them and don't kill someone's future. I don't even know if God forgives those ones who write off. But you see, someone else will pick them up. Like it says also, the stones that were thrown away are the ones that were used as the cornerstone. So look for that. Look for that one thing. God is not unfair. Just because one is a special needs learner does not mean there is nothing, absolutely nothing they can do. There is always talent. For us is to find it, empower them, and also nurture that talent so that they can be the best version they can for that specific area of focus. Thank you very, very much, Teacher Innocent, for coming. And no, there was no notice by the way. I was just come, enter. And again, for our viewers, welcome to our new studio. And she was our first guest to be hosted here. And it is indeed an honor to have someone who has directly impacted my family, because I'm able to communicate, I'm able to see my son progress because of the small things and the patience and the understanding that you guys have extended to him in school. And we really, really appreciate. And there is no amount of thank you. I don't think there is even any amount of salary that can repay, considering the way I struggle with it. By the way, there is no, you can convince me to be a teacher. For the teachers out there, it is a very normal career. It is a very noble career to take. We have a shortage for teachers, by the way, in special schools. So you can consider. We said there are no jobs, but that is one good job. But remember what she said. You have to be patient, you have to be understanding, and also innocent if you want to be. And be able to take in the punches and the meltdowns and all the diversity that comes with neurodiversity. I have been your host, Dr. Sylvia Moraa AkinSiku, here on the Neurodigest podcast, courtesy of Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons. Until next time, when we bring you another amazing episode and another amazing tale of Africa. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow us on our socials and like, subscribe, and share.